Hi, welcome back to Creature Corner. My name is Jared Krichevsky. I am a creature and character concept artist working in the industry today. I've worked on movies like Godzilla vs. Kong, Gods of Egypt, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Transformers Rise of the Beasts, Megan, and more. Our show is brought to you by Dell, and we are in part two of our Space Whales prompt. Matt Millard is not here tonight, so it's going to be me. You're going to be hanging out with me tonight. And we're going to do some space whales, so let's get right to the whaling of space. There we go. That's where we left off last time, and this is where the render was. This is how the render ended up so far. And so, plan for today, at least, is to do a little bit more sculpting, polish up the design, and then let's see, maybe inside the ZBrush get a little bit of poly paint on it, finish up yay old quickie render. We're just going to do real quick renders and then hopefully get it into paint. And we'll just do a little bit of painting on top, and that'll be it. And then we'll call it. So last time, Matt and I were kind of in the flow. So this time, I'm just gonna polish it up, and I think I just want to do just a little bit of cleanup in like the fins, and add some more interest this way. Make it all come together. Space whales. Space whales. So I am thinking about basically sculpting for the shot, right? So anything that's not, I mean, this is a pretty good shot, but like probably like the top of the head, I won't see as much. Maybe I could rotate it a little bit, but I'm just going to sculpt for the shot. So that means pretty much I need to be focusing on the underbelly of this thing, and then just anything that's visible to the camera. So when I use 3D for concept, this is a little trick I use. So you are not doing too much work. Alien whales, space whales, we love them all. We love them and the little whale sounds that they make. My throat's all crackly now, like right as I started. That's funny. See, vocal warm-ups. I should have done vocal warm-ups. I'm going to make that a habit now. We're going to do some vocal warm-ups. But all I have to do is just kind of carry the language over that I've built. It's going to be kind of like
creature out of time was hovering over us.
Creature out of time and space whales. Time and space.
5 innocent people killed. Not a sign of a human.
So, good time-saving technique when you're sculpting, you know, when you're making 3D for concept. Lock off your camera, only work to that shot. Also means that I don't need to be perfect with everything. There is a difference with speed sculpting. Speed being kind of like the optimal phrase there. Speedy. Speedy like the Flash. little bit of rake. Rake these forms a little bit. Yeah, raking, right? Just adds a little bit of texture. And that's just the rake brush, B-R-A, as an alien. The rake brush.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It's really good, and it's good because it erodes the form and adds texture without having to do a lot of work. Just makes the shapes nice and pretty. We all love our beautiful shapes. But most importantly, that's what you would be doing if you were sculpting in clay. You would build up the form and you would rake it down. Hey, that's pretty good. Do I have any references that I go off? Yeah, I do. My computer crashed right before the stream, so I had some references up.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was bad. But like you can see like the amount of references that I collect just over time. So most of the time I just grab anything out of my reference collection. And you just find photos that are interesting and you just save them over time. I did have like I liked this one. But I find like I'll any photo that has any kind of interest to me as I'm scrolling throughout the day, I'll just grab any of it and all of it, and I'll just save it out. And I just have collected these images, for what, like 13 years. But I did find the main one that I had last week was just if I can find it. We'll see if it'll show. I do love these things. That's a cool mantis shrimp. Maybe for coloring, because that would be very doable for color.
Excellent.
Excellent. Ugh. Do you really want to hold one of them? Not me. I don't want to hold it. Where else? Did I just like cancel? There we go. I was trying to find my main source, which was this feathered starfish that they discovered not too long ago. And I'm trying to remember if I was like a good artist and I put it and I filed it away, or did I just do my lazy, I'm going to dump it into a folder? I'm guessing that the last one. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I'm too hard on myself. There it is. See, I did put it away. I was a good artist.
Heck yes!
Yeah, we did it, baby. Anyway, so this guy was my main inspiration for the face. Because I thought it would be cool if it like opened up and whatnot. Anyway, let's keep barreling through this.
Listen to the ending.
So just trying to create nice, clean shapes. Look up the one people have in saltwater tanks. What's up, Justice? Hello, sir. Good to see you. Saltwater, what, like saltwater or tank feathered starfish? I've been to the aquarium. I love going to the aquarium whenever you can. Yeah, I love these guys. These guys are so weird. Little fibers. This one they just discovered. Which kind of has like almost a jellyfish kind of vibe to it. Oh, I love these guys too. The fluttery ones. I don't know. If I were smarter and in another life, I would be you know, a biologist or something. Because I like animals. But I'm not about to write a whole paper about it. New York. Monsters at bay. Let's fuse this together. I like it where it is. Oops. I don't know what I did there. I broke it. Okay. Drop to the bottom. Merge down. Go to the gear. Remesh by union. Oh, turn off symmetry. Make sure you turn symmetry off. Turn symmetry off, kids. And remesh by union. Let's see. The mantis shrimp. I love mantis shrimps. Nasty buggers. And do you have any limitations when making stuff like this, or is it all in your imagination? It's all imagination. I believe the imagination is a muscle. You got to flex it, which means just like thinking of stuff every day, coming up with ideas, writing down your ideas. Just after years of designing, my brain kind of goes into what if mode. So, I get a flash, your mind's eye, some kind of image that you want to make. And then, oh, that's weird. It's like it totally went bonkers here. Anyway, you get kind of a flash or an image, something that you want to make. And wow, that is broken. I don't know what happened there. Weird. That was weird. All right. So when this happens, right, like you get a broken subtool, clone it, send it over, save it, and then skip forward. And just auto group. Oh, weird. Yeah. There we go. And then just get rid of the bad geometry. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. There it is. There we go. Okay. Get rid of... Yeah, I know. There's a little bit of work. Anyway, get rid of the bad geometry and then append the good one in. I don't know why. I probably broke it just not paying attention. But this is why I back everything up here, just in case. There we go. Turn symmetry off. Remesh by union. If this breaks, then what's going on? All right. I got dogs scratching at the door. I got one in. All right, come on. Dog brigade. All right. There we go. Now we're good. And just blend all this stuff together again. And we'll do the same thing with this one. Thirsty dog. Oh, I know. Poor thing. Oh. There we go. Turn off symmetry. Hit Y, go to your gear. Remesh by union. Boom. Welded together without using Dynamesh. Okay. And now I've got these little fins out here, which I like. I might duplicate them one more time up here. And to come up with some more interesting fins. There's like big ones and small ones. It's like a medium set back here. In space, you need a lot of fins. Everybody knows this. It's a fact. You can't be a space whale. They don't let you be a space whale unless you have like 14 or 15 fins. So. Creature corner. Now you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh my god. Oh my god. Goose suits. See? 16 minutes. I made it 16 minutes.
Exactly.
I had to. Matt's not here. I don't think we would have made it as long. There we go. Okay, so now that all this is welded together, just really want to clean up these shapes a little bit. Make this one really long. And add some little cuts and pockets here. What else can we do? To clean this up right here. This is bugging. Pinch pass. That's what we need. Gotta use the pinch brush. I think like one thing a lot of newbie beginners ZBrush people don't do is they don't use the pinch brush. So every time they get in my class, I'm like, you gotta use the pinch brush. Magic. Make you feel better about yourself. Be like, I can do this with the power of pinch. With the power of perfect pinching. I don't know what color we're gonna do. Might have to be, because the environment's pretty warm, might have to go with a cooler color. We'll see. See what looks right. All your shapes are clean, well defined. You can get away with a lot of bad stuff too. Fighting the shape in the back a little bit. We'll get there. It's a process. Maybe some raking will help. It's usually my answer. If the shape's not looking good, you need to rake it down a little bit. Just need a little bit of texture. Okay, let's get these fused in. These guys. These are the ones. Fuse those in. Okay. Go. Let's go ahead and send it over. Attending and getting your first ever tattoo. First ever tattoo. What are you getting? Is the question. That's the question on everybody's mind. Thank you, Lagamba. Gamba. Yeah, we're gonna send this over and get it into C's. It's all broken.
Heck yeah.
Everything's broken. Yeah. There we go. Yeah, we got to get some color on it, I think. I like the warm tones, but we'll see what color change can do on it. Yes, that is a fact. If you get a tattoo, you will want more. I am also itching again. Need some ink.
Shut up and take my money.
Yeah, I know. I really I have a lot of stuff that I want to get done. It's just hard making time when you have a busy schedule. But I'm going to try my best because I need to make it. You got to find a good place too, you know? You got to find a good place. Finding a good place is half the battle. So, if you know any good place in the Van Nuys area, I'm looking for recommendations. Getting an anatomical skull and some tentacles and unknowable geometry. You're going big. You're going big for the first piece. My first one was small and hidden. Now I just want to get all my arms done. Let's do the whole thing. Might as well. Really lean into the monster thing. I don't know if I would go full Matt Millard. Matt wants to get all his hands done. I don't know if I would go that far. But I definitely have some space to decorate. Yeah, I got one on each arm, and then I got the creature from the Black Lagoon on the forearm, and now I just want to fill it out with all the classic monsters. Because of course I do. The next one I want to get is the Metaluna Mutant. The Metaluna is one of my favorites. One of my favorite designs. I also want to get a Mars Attacks Martian, but I'm worried it's a little too close to the Metaluna, so I just ultimately opted for the Metaluna.
My man.
My man, well, I love the Metaluna. You know how I feel about that. You know how I feel about that one. Just tightening up some of the shapes. My man. Keeping the shape kind of contained is challenging. B S Snake hook. My good friend Snake Hook. Just give him lots of little like floaty bits. Again, kind of like in the reference. Feathered starfish reference. Metaluna. Yeah, that was the Metaluna, along with the creature from the Black Lagoon, were both designed by Millicent Patrick. Who, Millicent Patrick is the like godmother of monsters. Right? If you think about like Ray Harryhausen, Jack Pierce, all the creators of the monsters we know today. Millicent Patrick, she was an animator for Disney. She actually animated on the Chernobog sequence in Fantasia. It's not really known where she worked on it exactly, Chernobog, but I believe she was one of the first animators. She definitely worked at Disney at the time. There you go. There's Chernobog. So if you've ever seen Fantasia, she was one of the animators who worked on that. And she was an actress as well. And they it was like one of the producers or something like that saw that she was in between takes and she would draw these portraits, and so they hired her. And she eventually found her way into Bud Westmore's makeup shop. Aha, yeah. Fun little creature trivia there. The godmother of monsters, Millicent Patrick. She also worked on some other very classic monsters. What was it? It Came from Outer Space, I believe. I have a soft spot for 50s, like B, C level horror. There you go. So she worked on this creature as well. I don't know if she designed it or just like helped build the costume. But also, I guess this is just in my DNA. I just love cycloptic space monsters. Again, probably why I love, I just love this one. So, I just love, 50s B horror, silliness. But always like, oh my god. Oh no. I forgot symmetry. Oh, but I lose this stuff. So, just means we have to rewind. Okay, now we got symmetry. Yeah, this is why you do it fast. So, if you lose a little bit of time making a mistake, it's not a big deal because you're just making fast decisions. Just like do something and stick with it. Where you can, save time, use symmetry. Don't forget when you turn it off and turn it on again. How are we doing time-wise? We're only 30 minutes in, so I think we're right on track. I'm going to give myself to the hour to finish sculpting, and maybe we'll start poly painting before then. We'll see. I have to grab my new favorite brush, which is Geo's brush. Well, it's it's from ZBrush Guides, but it's Geo's brush. Have you messed with this, James? Love this brush. Real, like between this and Damien Standard, man, these are my jams. It just has a really nice soft form, which is why it's called soft form brush. It's Geo's soft form. Never had the chance to watch any sci-fi from the 50s and 60s. Yeah, here's the thing is like, and I think this is what, if I can put on my old man hat for a second, I mean, I'm only like early 40s, but one thing that I grew up with that you guys don't have, that I feel like younger millennials and Gen Z don't have, is the channel surfing. I mean, you have kind of like streaming surfing, but it's not the same because choices were limited, and late night movies were easy content buys for network TV. So you would like turn on, TNT or TBS way back, or even before that, local channels. And it would be like 3 or 4 a.m. and like Them comes on, or a lot of these like old monster movies would come on. And so I think like a lot of the generation of like new monster fans, they never watched any of that stuff back when, before, blockbuster, or, CGI effects, or whatever. There was just a lot of really bad movies from the 50s and 60s because they were just, people wanted monster stuff, but they were just, a lot of them were super hokey, or, Roger Corman, who was kind of like the king of like low budget creature effects and things like that. Really, really low budget shows. I mean, you had like the Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, which were kind of like peak TV back then. But there was also just a lot of really bad movies, like really, really bad movies. And they would fill the hours of the night. And so if you were a young kid and you're sneaking up to watch television, you end up watching a lot of really bad monster movies. And so that's probably, the genesis of a lot of this. That's why I love talking in like old-timey years. And then in the 80s and 90s, in the 90s you had like the Outer Limits and X-Files and, all that stuff. And it was just like major monster boomtown. But I have a soft spot for 50s movies for that reason. It was just like, I just loved kind of flipping through the channels and getting to them. Now you can find them like you're not going to find them unless you're like looking for it. But Tubi is really good for them, like finding old movies on Tubi. They buy up a lot of like classics and stuff like that. But it's so much harder with streamers to just like randomly come across something kind of classic. And in the old days, you watched it because it was on, and it was the only thing on. So it's like that's where I just grew up, watching a lot of monster flicks. They used to have, they would play like double features: Creature from the Black Lagoon, Wolfman. Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah. You'd have to watch. Yeah, stay up late to watch South Park because that was the only time they'd play it because of there were rating restrictions, and so like it forced you to stay up late. Now you stay up late because you can't get off your phone. It's just different, It's just different times. But great monster movies remain. But I think, it's important even as monster fans, creature fans. You gotta learn about the history of monsters. Where do monsters come from? Watch all the great monster movies. I bought I had the Universal Classic Monsters on Blu-ray. Unfortunately, the one I have doesn't have Creature from the Black Lagoon on it, so I was shocked and saddened about that. Shocked, I say, and saddened.
Profound sadness, sadness, sadness.
Oh, wow. Did you see this? Just like straight up exploded. All I wanted was... Yeah, that was bad. It's okay. Whenever that happens, like, don't panic. Like, don't freak out.
Oh, yeah. This is
Like-
fine. Don't worry about it at all.
At all. Like, at all. I just feel I need a lot of this, like, stuff coming up. It's going to make you feel big. And if I have time, I'll make, like, a little leech buddy for him, too. Like, don't worry about it at all. You're not going to talk about your kid. Ouch. Keep getting Dynamesh making Swiss cheese on a really simple object. Adam, yes, there is a Adam. Yes, there is a good way to fix this. The Swiss cheese problem. I'm gonna save it. Let me delete my quick saves and then save it again. There we go. Let me show you what's happening. Okay, so you got a thin piece of geometry, right? And then you forgot to turn on like backface masking. It's not thin. Swiss cheese. Wait. It's Swiss cheese, but it's not thin on spheres and objects. I wonder that if it's not that. If it's not a thin mesh, then you might have accidentally duplicated it. That's the only other thing I can think of. Just like a regular sphere, simple objects. Is your resolution too low? Okay, like now I'm curious because it could be like your resolution is too low, or it could be the scale of your object if your object is like too big or too small. That's the only other thing I can think of. Interesting. But usually it's the thin object trick, right? You get this because these two verts are like welding together because they're too close. 16 with multiple polygroups. That's probably it. Justice says create shell. Where's that? Where's that button? Under geometry? Try make sure groups is not turned on. Where's create shell? Modify topology. That's where my guess is. That's where all the stuff is hiding. To be in dynamic. Yeah, create shells inside Dynamesh. Let's try that one. Creating shell requires submesh insert. Yeah, I don't know what that is. I've never hit that button. I've never used that. Is that even useful? It stopped really being useful after like dynamic subdivision turned off. You know, because it's like the same thing as extract, right? Where you extract it with a certain amount of thickness. It's my guess, at least. Could be just corrupted GL. I mean, yeah, it's probably corrupted. I mean, try zero meshing and see what the response is. And ultimately, it's probably like it's probably duplicate geometry or polygroup or something. I don't know. I'm just making space widths, but no, it's okay. I have groups on so my shapes don't merge. That's also probably it. Send it over. Getting close.
Hey,
now
that's pretty good.
Yeah. See what the raking does? It just like instantly does like a lot. But now I gotta like just tighten all this up, add some more like shells on the back. Getting close. Get some color on it. Okay, we got like 15 minutes. 15 minutes. And then setting yourself on a timer, like a deadline. It's always good to give yourself a deadline. I'm very bad at this, but also finish what you start. Oh no. It's forgetting to turn on symmetry. Keeps biting me in the butt. Oh yeah, I have a 3090 card. Anyway, my like 128 gigs of RAM, super juiced. I juiced the hell out of this thing. Very like worthy investment. Because it pays off a lot down the line, especially when you're dealing with clients and they're changing their mind and they're You're making snap decisions. So yeah, I fully recommend juicing up your machine. Will you subdivide this model later? No. No, this is all going to be just Dynamesh. This is just purely for concept, not no way is this am I going to do any like topology or anything like that. Only thing I'm going to do is add some poly paint. How would you retopo these frillies on the fin? I don't think I would attempt it with this with this one. It would be a nightmare, especially. Yeah, if it were, depending on the like production needs. I mean, this you would probably just simulate that with like cloth or like fibers. It would be a groom thing. So thankfully, I'm a concept artist. All I do is make it look cool.
Choose your destiny.
Yeah. Like, do you want to spend months retopoing this?
Nope.
James says no. No, sir.
Back to the animalistic. The monster that lies within each of us.
I want to create an interesting shape here. Time to find an intern. Yeah, right. I have been very, very close at points. I've been like, man, I'm so swamped. I need an intern.
Get over here!
Yeah, I need a helper. I need to train somebody up. We're almost to that point. Not quite yet. If you build it, they will come, right? That's a movie quote. Field of Dreams, Kevin Costner. It's about football. I'm all about like what can I get away with without having to retopo anything.
Exactly.
what can I get away with? When I first learned about Keyshot, I ran around the office. I was like, guys, you're not gonna believe this.
You gotta give.
You gotta give. Before that, it was called Hypershot. And I initially learned about it from a Josh Nizzi tutorial. Dude was doing sick-ass robots all the way back
I'm so hot.
then. There was, it was like a Josh Nizzi tutorial, and it was an Eat 3D tutorial.
Give me all that stuff.
I think it was, I forget who did that one, but it was, it's not Mike Pav, but he did a Eat 3D tutorial years ago. Let's see. PC's Threadripper 32 core. Yeah, that's what I have. Yeah, or I think I have more than that. Do you think it's a good investment for a hobbyist? I think it depends on you. Like if you're going to, I mean, like this rig could be good for gaming or for work, so it's kind of up to you. I think if you're a serious artist and you want to make money, investing in your software and tech is pretty important, I think. So you're kind of like IT guy. But so, yeah, I bought a really great computer. Matt invested in his, and he really loves his computer. So I think it pays off. Yeah, exactly. Like whatever you can afford, and it's also like get an iPad and get Nomad with it, and that's a great program, and the iPad is great. So you can get a lot of cool stuff out of that too, especially if you're just a hobbyist. That's on the cheaper end of the solutions than buying a $6,000 computer. Is Keyshot better than Marmoset? They are very similar, but also very different. Keyshot has a look to it, and Marmoset has a look to it as well. Marmoset is on the cheaper end of the solution side of things, and is also it looks like it's BPR. It has it looks like game ready. A lot of game studios use it to kind of preview what their meshes look like, before they take it into Unreal or what have you. So, but I like Marmoset a lot. I want to. I'm slowly trying to sneak it into my pipeline. But Keyshot is still kind of like the fastest solution. So that's why I continue to use that. So if I have time on a project, I'll take it into Marmoset for sure. It looks great. And you can rip out term tables pretty quick. Hopefully, I'll just be using it more. And I'm trying to get to know the texturing inside of Marmoset, because you can texture pretty well. It's almost as good as Substance. So if I can just like take it into Marmoset and texture without having to go into Substance, I've just eliminated another program, that I don't need. So. Yeah, they're both kind of different, but Keyshot is a great program. It's just for what I do in concept, very very fast. But I would also say like Marmoset's great too. I love them both. Love them both. Sponsor me. Then I'll sell. I'll sell it all. Let's see. Tightening up last bits of shapes. I got like 4. I got 4 minis. I got like 4 or 5 minis before I gotta poly paint this.
See what happened in one city. See how a shy, inhibited boy becomes a vicious sex killer.
See if I can get some spikies on this part. Snake hook. Oops, come here. Symmetry on. Sculptress on. Sometimes I wish the interface was like little knobs and dials so I could like pilot a spaceship or something. It'd be kind of cool. You know how when they're like starting up the Millennium Falcon, there's a startup sequence and they gotta like flick a bunch of buttons. Are you afraid of killing your CPU when you render with Keyshot? Because when I use it, no, dude, this is in GPU mode right now, and it's like this fast, right? Look how fast this goes. And I don't even have the denoise on. Turn the denoise on, and it's like, boop, right? Super fast, and it looks great. There you go. Boom. Now,
God, that was badass.
yeah, it looks pretty good. Almost there. So fast. It's super fast, my friend. And Marmoset is fast too. It does, it doesn't have like quite the limitation. I'm not gonna mess with Marmoset now, but it does chug a little bit with poly count. Keyshot you can dump. I've dumped like 80 to 150 million polys in Keyshot and not had a single problem. So it's like it can just handle a lot. And I'm just going to paint over this thing anyway. All right, let's get some textures in there. Not textures. I'm talking about like barnacles. And I think I have like a brush for this, but I just kind of want to populate it a little bit. Oh, where is it? I have like. I've made like plenty of barnacle brushes, and I just never save them out. Maybe we can find something kind of similar. Let's see if this is my like brush collection. I have so many, to where it's like a problem. Like I have too many.
Show me what you got.
I have so many, like 90% of them are Pablos. I guess I could just use like a skin or something. It's probably going to be too time consuming, so I'm not going to do that. Let's do this. Let's grab a standard brush. I'm going to grab a drag rectangle and like a standard spray. Turn that off. There we go. Turn on backface masking. There we go. So, over, the large size of the brush is going to give it like a barnacle kind of feel. Space barnacles for our space whale. Yeah, man. Yeah, Keyshot is expensive. So that's why I'm like, get Marmoset, because it is much more affordable. So yeah, be warned. Everybody coming at you for that subscription money. Not worried about symmetry either, just because you'll never see it. It's all for one shot. You only got one shot. we can just do this and populate it quickly. It'll look like I did like way more work. Lots of them. There's lots of them all over. Lots of little things that like latch on. Space whales.
Let's slap 'em up!
Let's slap 'em up. Getting sloppy with the space whales, baby. All right, then we're gonna throw some color on it. Call it a bangin'. Okay, color time. Let's get some color. And I don't know what I'm going to do for this. I really don't. No clue. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to Subtool Master. And I'm going to fill everything with a color and material. I know, it was basic. It's basic. So color and material, just fill it all. Ta-da! Oh, and let's take one of these other little goobers I built. What if we took this guy and made him like a weird, or what's this one? No, we need that. And I have this guy. What about it? Let's try anything else. What about this one? All right, never mind. I was gonna like build a little guy latching on, but I got these like little dudes floating down here, so we're just gonna delete this one. This is the part where I need to like do some selective editing. Get rid of some old stuff. Gotta commit. Gotta commit. Like, I don't need this guy. He's just, I don't need him anymore. What about this one? This guy is also cool. If I did this.
He can hit. He can hit you.
He can hit. I just watched that one today. It's very funny. Stable Stars at Star Wagons. Can you please post your portfolio? Yes. Thank you, Mr. You're not nobody. You're somebody. Somebody special. Thank you for posting that, James. Okay. This is a, I don't know, I don't want to go too far on this. But if this was like a little mouth or something right here. Okay, and then I just take this, create an insert mesh brush. Did not mean to do the whole thing. That was a bad call. Yes, I am. I'm using the 24-inch Cintiq. And I have it. I'm using it with a swivel arm, so that way my wrists are not resting on the desk, right? So my wrists are, one arm is stretched out on my keyboard, and my other wrist is kind of sitting at my shoulder's kind of at about like a 45-degree angle. And that way, I don't kill my arms. Also part of the like worthwhile investment, So now I'm putting like little leeches and stuff on them. Again, I'm not worried about symmetry because you'll never see the other side. I'm just kind of placing them. Except for like one over here. But they all have to be kind of like suckered on. And then I can just tweak their tails a little bit to add some interest. So it's just like one little thing that I wanted to do. I love adding, the bigger the creature, you want to add little like scale references like that. Here. Bigger creatures with smaller features. I keep hitting this button. It's not crashing it, but I am making a mistake. Yeah, snake hooking the tendrils out. These guys, these little guys, I'm using an insert mesh brush. And it was basically, I cloned out a sculpt that I already did, and I took it and I kind of like tweaked it and, welded it and just kind of like moved it around and kind of messed with it a little bit. And that kind of creates a new shape that I can use. So like I could use this, for a fin or something like that. So this is the way I'll work with a lot of stuff. Like for example, just grab it, create insert mesh new, and it all depends on kind of the angle that you draw it out on. So let's say I want this to come out this way. And I'll create an insert mesh, and this time I'll append it. So now my brush has two different parts to it. Come back over here. We'll just slam it in there. We'll just use it. It's like this little kind of attachment right here. Now you just have to be careful because like it creates everything that you create. So I want to get rid of this. This actually that makes like a cool little like weird like fin thing. So make something weird and use it. In fact, I'll put it right here. We'll just put it right down the middle, and it could be like another creature or something. But it's kind of like kit bashing with parts of your sculpt that you've already sculpted. So it's already got your kind of language. But it creates that little part every time, so I have to fix that. But look at that. That's, a lot of extra shape and detail for free. Ha-ha!
That's a nice motorcycle.
That's a nice motorcycle. No motor? So yeah, pretty cool. All right, so color. I'm like way behind on color now. Let's do it let's find like a random texture maybe. And not a lot of people know this, but there are a lot of textures inside of ZBrush already that you can pull from. I do have a hotkey set for delete hidden. Yeah, I set it to Control X. That is something that I do. Yeah. My kind of general rule is that if it's something that I use a lot, then I will fix it to a hotkey. But there's like a hierarchy. So like mirror and weld, I have set to hotkeys. Delete hidden, I have set to a hotkey. Solo is also really important. So like being able to solo out geometry like this, I set to V. Yeah. So that way I can solo stuff out. I can mirror it. I can weld it. So I know some. I think Grissetti sets his hotkeys. He's got them all set to a number pad, and he's got all his brushes set to that. And dude is fast. Okay, paint, RGB. I'm doing it this time. We're gonna grab a random texture. I think this bark, and this bark. We're gonna grab both of those. We'll see if we get something interesting. Set it to a drag rectangle. There we go. And I'm just gonna let. Yeah, I'm just gonna lay it on pretty heavy, and then we'll just kind of like figure it out from there. Yeah, I want to split that off. This guy gets to be a part of the main fish right here.
Very nice.
It's a nice motorcycle. Motorcycle, no motor? Okay. So dumb. Okay, let's weld all of this stuff together. I know it's kind of like hard to see at the moment. It's all kind of like blending together, but I'll work on it. I'm getting there. Okay. Push that down. With the main body. Okay, let's rename it main. I don't really have a plan for this, but I'm hoping it looks cool. I am kind of thinking about that mantis shrimp. Talked about that earlier. It's pretty close, right? Just has like a nice little breakup. So you kind of do a big pass, and then you kind of go over it again in a small pass. We'll tweak the color. Actually remap the left side of my keyboard to the tab block cap keys, the one next to the number 1 block, and the left Windows key, different buttons. Yeah, I think like I think you just have to make the program work for your brain, right? Like that's one of the advantages I think to ZBrush. It is a very big program. But at the same time, when you customize it, when you finally like you figure out where everything that you need is, and you start customizing it, then it gets really, really powerful. So ZBrush, one of the most powerful things about ZBrush is the ability to change your interface as to that level. So mine looks like a nightmare of unknowable geometry, but it just happens to work for my brain. Okay, I'm gonna call these like little dudes. Okay. Just throw some quick textures on it, even though I'm not gonna stick with this. We'll just use this other little dudes. Run it down, hit OK. It doesn't really matter what I do. I'm going to get rid of this. It's a cool idea, and I like it, but I'm not going to spend any more time on that. What's this? Oh, that's our little like base dude. Throw that in a folder called build. This is where, like, if I'm paranoid about something, I'll just throw it in a folder. It's like my do not touch folder. We're not done texture-wise yet. Okay. All these things, all these little like extra bits are going to get different colors. Let's go back. Let's just finish this up. The side profile is going to be really important. And what's nice is this texture just has a nice like striped pattern. I wasn't expecting it was going to work this well, but it did. People will be like, "What did you use?" And I'll be like, "Stock, baby."
You did
It's
what?
stock. You did what? You can't do that. You'd be surprised at like how much texture lets you get away with everything. And then we're going to use some masks on top of this, and that'll help create some separation of the forms. We are very, very close. I was hoping to be able to get to paint over. We'll see. I don't know. I don't want to make no promises. Let's adjust some colors. And go. Look at that. Just by a little color adjustment, now they're like totally different. Okay. I can grab color and tint it. Yeah. The problem with that is that once I've tinted it, it makes my texture. I'm done with my texture, so I'm going to just do some last minute like panic painting. Because then once I've got that, that's it. Can't use my text. I could grab my texture back and use it with like project history or the extractor, but I'd prefer not to.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
That's the point. That's what I'm saying. That I don't have time for that. Okay. All right. Well, we got to call it, I think. I think that's it. Okay. Last little bits. Last little bits. Last little
Excellent.
bits. Okay. All right. Do a little color adjust. And maybe we can do maybe tinted, which I said that already. Brighten it up a little bit, make it fade. And let's try shift it, do color shifting. Don't really like color shifting. Cool. All my colors are pretty warm. So color it, cool it down a little bit. We'll try it. We'll send it over and we'll see. It's kind of cool. Let's do it. Send it over. Just preview it. See what it's like. The one doing the sound effects is a master. That is James. And James is a master. Take a bow, James. He's shy. Okay. Where is it? Let's see if we like it. Yeah, see, I was afraid of that. That pattern gets pretty... it's okay. It's okay. That's all right. It's all right. Yeah, in a way, like the simpler the pattern, the more effective. Yeah, I think we're going to simplify it a little bit. It is cool, but it's a lot. Okay. See? That's why we didn't spend a lot of time on it. So we can make decisions. Maybe we'll sample the color and do a fill at a low price point. Now we'll adjust the color and we'll just brighten everything up. Let's try that. Again, like this is why Keyshot is so fast. You know, you just send it over, boom. Okay, come here. Back to that camera. Oh, James likes that one. He likes that one. It does kind of go with the sunset and all the warm colors. There's a lot of things we can still do to this. Make the color pop. I wonder. Still feel like I need to cool it off a bit, though. Let's just try it. Let's try it. Let's try it. Just see how it looks. It's like guessing. It's just like educated guesses. It didn't really show up at all. Because everything's so warm. This is the lighting of the environment. I'm going to turn this off.
So young, so pretty. What monster could have done it?
All right. Well, what if we just did this? Let's try this. I mean, I can always change the color in post. It doesn't really matter. Can't go wrong with yellow. One more time. Grab our shot cam. See, green's not bad. For a space whale? A green space whale? I don't know. Yeah, it's not too bad. We'll go in that spectrum. Okay, one more time. Greenish. Tint doesn't seem to work. Okay. Oh, you like the little red in there? I do too. And then we have to figure out what we did and do it all over again. Almost. Whatever. It's got to be different. It's got to be a little different. Let's see. Oh, I did that. And here. There a little bit. Closer. But that's okay. It's okay that they're all different. Now.
Hey, that's pretty good.
It was okay. It was okay. Mask by cavity. Take this and then just sample like one of the masked colors. Just a little spray. Turn off the texture. There you go. Let's turn off the mask real quick. There we go. So quick mask by cavity. That'll help us kind of lock onto some color here. Another one over here. It's actually pretty cool. Let's lower the fill then. It's a space whale. Okay. It can look like this. This is what space whales look like. Like just a little bit of color. Oh, we're in like smooth jazz town. Did you do that creature from scratch only during the stream? Well, this is part 2. So Matt and I started our part 1 last stream. So if you want to see how we ended up, how we got here, check out part 1. Most of the time, we'll start something from scratch. But every so often, if we're doing like a person, we'll start with the base mesh. If I'm working professionally, concepting for a client, I will start with the base mesh, usually. It all depends. If I have it really depends on like how much time I have. If they're like, we need stuff now, then I'll start, I'll build it from stuff that I've got. Let's see if we can go a little. All depends on like the need. Okay, let's do another. This time we're going to do a mask by Peak and Valley. There we go. We're trying to get all these little crevices in here. Let's see if that looks cool. That kind of looks cool. Too much. Too much. Maybe the coverage. Let's try it. Let's try it. Okay, it's close. We're going to lower the coverage again. There you go. Let's try that here. Okay, same thing, peaks and valleys. It does a really good job of like finding the high points. So I textured all that, colored all that stuff pretty quick. And then let's try masking by curvature. Sample this color. Sample a little bit of that in there. It's starting to look a little better. Let's try curvature again. You just got to play around with the masks and try different things. You'll get a cool result. Space whales! Is the 3D industry really saturated, like some people say in other videos? Like for games? I mean, I think it's not that it's saturated. It's just that it's a smaller industry than you think. Games is a very large industry, but people switch studios and swap jobs all the time. Places go out of business, places merge, new places spring up. I think just as a creative person, you just need to be flexible and just be resourceful. I've managed to survive 13 years, so I think getting your foot in the door is always the hard part, but once you break in, you'll be okay. You just keep working on your portfolio and things like that. There are ups and downs in the industry, and as there will always be. In film, there's a strike going on, so 3D scene is super saturated. I think also what's really saturated is just YouTube, Blender tutorial personalities. There's just a lot of that, and just in the last 5 years, just so many dudes popped up that are just teaching the same Blender tutorials over and over again. So I think that's also part of the illusion that makes it feel bigger than it is. I think like you get to know people on jobs, and you're like, you get to know them. Smooth. Let's try this one. Try and smoothness. You know, anytime you have an industry where there's a lot of people trying to break in, let's try peaks and valleys again. One of my let's lower that intensity a little bit. All right, let's try it. And then I want to get some color on these guys real quick. Reddish. Yeah, I hope the unionizing trend continues for VFX. VFX is long overdue for unionization. Full disclosure, I belong to a union. I belong to the Costume Designers Guild. But as a VFX artist who's worked with VFX artists, my heart is with VFX. So I truly support our industry and you know, and people's right to make fair wages and, you know, live a decent lifestyle, you know, and enjoy what they do. You know, so I am also a former SAG-AFTRA union member as well. So I had my SAG card for a number of years. I did commercials when I was a kid, and, you know, all that stuff. So my heart is with the union folk. All right, I'm actually pretty happy with how this paint job came out for a quickie.
Heck yes!
Yeah, right. Let's just trying to bump the contrast maybe a little bit, and then we'll send it over, get a render out, and just hang out and do a little more painting. Just get it look good. Camera, go to my shot camera. There's definitely like, it's still a little dark, so I'm wondering if I can just kind of brighten everything up a little bit, and it's purely just the lighting in the scene. I have global illumination turned on. Maybe if I brighten things up a little bit. And this is where I'll duplicate the environment just to, that looks a little better. So we want to see the color. There it is. It's just lighting. Okay. Paste material. Paste material. I did get some really cool lighting from my first placement, which I think is here. Yeah. Because there's some cool lighting that happens like right here, but you get more color. This looks a little bit more like science fiction-y. What about these guys? Paste material here. Everybody gets a skin shader. These guys can get a little bit more. This one, unlink it. This can get a little bit more subsurface. You get a lot of subsurface. It'll put a lot of warm colors in there too. Same with you, buddy. Yeah, now we're getting some like worms in there. It's gonna look really cool. More contrast. Whoa! Almost too much. Rotate it. Where's the original? So a happy medium in here somewhere. All right, that looks cool. I've got my nebulas in there. And I'm going to move them around. Can you believe it? Finally figured out like a decent shader for these. You can tell in the first episode I really struggled with like what I was doing, trying to figure it out. This geometry is just super ugly, rough ZBrush geometry. So nothing to like. It's just like a sphere with like a lot of noise on it, and then inflates and noises. Let's put this over here. I'm just going to place this kind of however I want. It's better. I like this kind of shape cutting up this way. And then maybe we'll take it and duplicate it. And we're going to move selection, right click, move selection. Put another one up here. Okay. Now this guy right here is very cool. I like him a lot. I like this one. He's also very big. And I like where our creature is at, so we are going to scale it down. Move selection. Scale it down just a little bit. Back. Move it back in space a little bit. Okay. I think that's it. Except for you. It was that was it except for this guy. And we're just going to take him and space a little bit more. What happens if we rotate? It's cool that it's kind of like cutting through the nebula. All right. So I think that's it. We're going to call it. And we're going to save it. Pull this up over here. All right. So pretty cool. Now we're like this is pretty much ready to render. So instead of doing like a large render that's going to take like a buttload of time, I'm just going to do screenshot renders. So it's going to make my life easier. And basically, it just means you turn on a bunch of stuff and swap out a bunch of materials. Always a good idea to save it while you're doing this thing, but you just get all your basic render passes. Now, it's not going to be as like high resolution as I normally would render, but for like sake of time, whatever, right? Sometimes you got to do it quick. So first thing I'm going to do is just do a clean render just with our guy and our sky pass. So I just let it sit for a second. Really, this should go pretty quick. Oh, and I've got fog. Should turn on that fog. That's going to change how you see everything. Yeah, can you believe I almost forgot the fog? Oh, that would have been embarrassing. Okay, I'm just going to do a full render like this then. that was silly. But we are going to render it also without fog. So let me just let it sit for a minute. The fog actually helps a lot because it just makes it stats, atmosphere, depth. Cool. All right. Not as like long as I'd like to wait on something like this, but I'm impatient. I feel impatient. So we're going to turn everything off now and just render this guy by itself. I know I said I was going to do that already. That's what we're doing. Make sure that your camera's locked off, by the way. It's very easy to move it, and that's a pain in the butt. Yeah, you don't want that. Okay. All right, boom. So another rendered down, right? Now we're going to turn off everything. Just render this. Right, just screenshot render goes real quick, doesn't matter. You can even do one with the fog if you want. Right, just make it quick. Don't worry about the noise. Noise is fine. Okay, let's also just do one with the nebbies. That's what I call them. Nebbies. Give me that. Give me that. Okay, do one with. And it doesn't matter like if you're going to use them all. Because you don't know what you're going to use. So I just turn it all off and on anyway.
Down the hatch. Bon appetit.
Bon appetit. Right? So just try it. Just try it. Try things. Okay, like boom. Okay, so that's all our renders. Now we need to do like ID passes and material passes, things like that. All right, so I've got like a whale. And this is the point where like you either want to save out your material or, you know, store it away because nothing worse than like losing it. At this point, I've saved my project. Sometimes I will also save a separate project because I'm very paranoid. See, I just saved it again. That's how paranoid I am. And that's how paranoid you should be. Because you never know what's going to happen. Computer could shut down. Volcano happens.
Makes it safe. No, triples is best.
So sometimes I will save an extra file and I'll call it material, just so I have backups on backups, triples on triples. That's how we both know about ice cream stores. Okay, so then I've got like a black material, basically, and I'll just apply it to everything. It's pretty cool. And then you use this to pull specular off of. So, right. So first I'll do a rough pass, like this, and it'll go real quick. Boom, done. And then I will drag the material all the way down and get all the shinies.
Don't know the power of the dark side.
It's very shiny. It's very, very shiny. And then boom, save that. Okay, now I've got all my shiny. Then you want to take it and change it to like a flat shader, just to pull ID from. There you go. And I will also add a background color. Okay, so this way I can pull a selection off of this. And I'll even take these guys and I will unlink the material. These guys get a red color. And what about those other little guys? What are those other little guys? Let's unlink that material and hook you guys up. There you go. Okay, so boom. Right? Now I've got my selection passes. That renders up super duper quick, just like that. And then I've also got this flat texture pass. And this also goes very quick. And I will just take this, scale it down. It's just like a mossy texture. And it's something I use on everything. It's just like a mossy breakup texture that you can overlay or multiply it on top. It just adds like, it's great for like dirt or grime or, all that stuff. All that cool stuff. And then I'll just save that out. Sometimes if I feel cheeky, I might just do like a ambient occlusion type pass, but I think that's it. Do I need anything else? Doesn't matter. And then I will save it out, or at least save it like this. And I thought I had sometimes I'll do like a thin material, a thin shader material, just for some color breakout. You can get really creative with this part, doing different passes and things like that. Get different effects. That's what it's about. It's about trying out stuff.
Give me all that stuff.
Give me all that stuff. I don't know how it worked body. Okay. All right. That turned out cool. Also a good idea to save out your space whales. Right? Because we are diligent artists, and we're going to just back everything up. This is Little Billy. His name is Little Billy Dinkins. Okay, so I'm going to open up all my files, start dropping them in there. And let me grab all that. Okay. Background, fog, nebs. That's what I call them. They're nebs. Fog and nebs. Whale layers. Selection. Texture. And thin film. Okay, so that's all we need for this. I'm going to go to my image size because it doesn't come in at 300 dpi, so I'm going to change that. It's going to upscale the image. And even though it kind of looks low res, I'm not going to worry about it, like, at all. Okay. So now I can take my selection and get my actually, let's do this. Let's try and get all the black. Let's see. Let's get our guy here. Okay, I'm figuring out what I'm doing. Let's get our beauty pass, like our hero beauty pass, which is this one. And then our space whale. And let's do see if this works. Yep, see, didn't get all that stuff. Didn't get all that stuff. This is where I have failed. I have failed the city. Doesn't matter. Just painted it. Use the airbrush. So I'm just pulling out some of that contrast from the yeah, just to add a little bit of depth. It's going to fade as it kind of goes back further. That's what I'm doing here. Pulling a little bit of contrast back. Let's try this one. Set it to overlay or multiply. Let's try multiply. See, the only thing that is not great about Krita is it doesn't have like a select all. The way like Photoshop you can select. But anyway, doesn't matter. Multiply. Just lightly layering it on top for some kind of grit and dirt. Okay. See, like, am I going to use this? I don't know. Definitely want to use this. Use a screen. And duplicate the layer just because I'm paranoid. Because you never know when you might use it again. And then let's use a radial gradient this time. Just kind of coming off this way. See if there's a bright light source out there. It's like in a starry nebula. We can even try an overlay. It's kind of cool. Okay. All right. We're doing great. We're doing great. What's this? This is our nebs. Nebs! Transparency mask, invert, a lot of that stuff going on. A lot of inverting. And then we can just use it just to bring back some contrast here. Especially things that are getting like closer to us. You just kind of go through and how do you want to select? Well, if I were better about rendering, like more careful, I would do like proper selection, like proper selection masks for everything. In this case, I'm just trying to get through this pretty fast, so I'm not being as careful as I might be. I would render everything on transparency with clown passes and all that stuff, really, really high scale resolution, all that stuff. But because I just want to like call this piece as quickly as possible, not for any other reason than like we got a lot of stuff that we want to show on the show, right? We got a lot of stuff. So, so I'm not being as careful with selections as I could. Even my contrast, I'll lower that. And we got to add some stars. We got to get some stars in there. Let's try this. Let's try another. Let's try glow. Glow. That's weird. No, don't like that either. Hard light? No. There might be something in here. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Color dodge. Well, of course, color dodge. Add a transparency, invert that. Everything gets a like an alpha mask. You just kind of paint in effect. Especially this like rim here. Around the shadow, around the clouds, the nebulae. Space whales. So you can't leave your space whale out here, sir. Sir. You can't park that here. We'll keep adding to these clouds. Space whales. Your mother was a space whale. Your Honor, listen here. Get that man a space whale. This man's entitled to a full space whale. Playing with effects. See? Look at that.
My man.
Yeah, it makes
Hey,
clouds.
that's pretty good.
Ah, thanks, guys. All right. What's this? Oh, this is our specky pass. Specular. Let's try this. And set that to a screen. And it's going to come in way too bright, so you got to crunch it. Yeah. Not a fan. It's just not right for this effect that I want. The bigger an object is, the more rough the overall specular is going to be. I learned that from working on Independence Day 2. The bigger the object, the more rough the specular is going to be because it's all these little tiny surfaces. Learned that from how Roland Emmerich learned that on the first Independence. Screen. What happened? Didn't work. Didn't work. There we go. Yeah, we'll set that to a screen. Levels. It's just too intense. Well, I definitely broke something.
Oh no!
Yeah, that's why I'm paranoid. Let's see. Definitely broke something. It's okay. We'll get it back. Maybe that's what it was. That looks better. Oh, Control L. You guys do not want to crunch. There we go. That looks better. Just gotta be patient. That looks better. There it is. It's subtle, but it kind of blends the color in a little bit. That looks better. Let's flatten the layer. What happens if I plus it up one? That looks even cooler. Okay. And maybe not. Turning layers on and off again. Why would a space whale be wet? Right? It would. There's no water in space. Alright, what I'm going to do though is I'm going to flatten this layer. Then I'm going to add a mask. Invert. I'm just going to paint in just a few tiny spots like right here. We're going to use it like sparingly. Even then, we're good. Only just. Only just. Space whales.
Let's laugh
Okay, cool. There we go. What's this one? Okay, what's this one? So I think this is my thin film that I may not use. Yeah, I kind of already used it. Let me just delete it. All right. Tab. Okay, I'm pretty close. Okay. Next up, a little bit of secret sauce. It's not really a secret sauce. Now you guys are just going to be disappointed. All right. Set a new layer, and guess what? Overlay. Overlay is the magic. That's it. That's the secret sauce. You just paint with a little bit of overlay. And you can paint with overlay. You can paint with color dodge. I might even switch to color dodge. Let's see. No. It was terrible. Overlay. Overlay adds contrast as you paint. So, in case you didn't know that. But now you do. Now you guys do. Just want to brighten this up a little bit. Also, I think I want to add a little bit of an adjustment. This needs a little saturation. I have been doing a lot of like red compositions, so I need to change that up on the next one. I always make sure I label my overlay. Hit some of your kind of key lighting points with overlay. Airbrush.
She will come out of the lake, and she must kill.
Kind of choose some points to like bump the saturation. Just a nice little overlay paint. Almost there. Almost. All right, let's get some stars. I have a question, sir. Yeah, save your project. Oh, good point. I should probably save out Space Whales. Ah. Good advice. Question, sir. In 3D concept art, does good topology matter? How much does good topology matter in comparison to character topology for animation? In 3D concept, you do not have time for topology. You are doing like ZBrush and like quick ZBrush, quick UV unwraps. It is fast. It is dirty. It is like not acceptable for animation at all. So animation takes longer, just to properly retopologize something. But it's you zone out and you just do it. It's not really that bad. So basically, in 3D concept, it's all about getting around those limitations. So back in the day, before Keyshot was really the thing that we used, we would render at a mental ray and just do essentially the same thing that I'm doing here, except we would just render out a couple of passes. Same thing that we would do basically kind of today that I'm doing right here. It's just the software is so much faster. So yeah, no retopo at all. It's all about fast ideas and then being fast, getting out your ideas very quickly. Time for some stars, baby. More of a there we go. Mm-hmm. Small little dusty stars in the back.
Excellent.
Choose your destiny. Stars everywhere. And I might have to turn these to glow or glow heat. Let's try it. Color dodge. Space whales. Love a good space whale. Love space whales. And then I'll just drop the opacity on these so they push really far back. And then I'll do another one where they're closer. I'm just kind of like hanging around this nebula. So this dude just like swims or space floats around these nebula, and he just like gobbles up space debris. It's his whole thing. Smaller brush here. Closer to us. Lots of little dusty stars. I don't know if you can see it. Little dusty. Do you usually texture models inside of ZBrush? Yeah, just poly paint. Or I'll do a lot of the work inside of Keyshot. I am trying to like incorporate Marmoset into my workflow, but it is still a little bit hard to put it in there all the way. There's nothing faster than Keyshot at the moment. So sometimes, I have a day, one day, which is like 8 to 9 hours of like getting, before I have to deliver something. So you have to do it very, very fast. So you have to be very comfortable with your process, and you have to like think on your feet. Because if you have like an effect or something that you're going to do, you got to think out like, okay, how am I going to get this done? That's little bits of stardust. And then I think I can lock the alpha. And then I'm going to grab like a big airbrush and kind of pick around some areas. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. If I do that. There we go. Just so I can sprinkle some kind of dust into some color into the stars. Just a little bit of color. Okay. It's pretty cool. I want to do a little bit more overlay with the airbrush and just kind of like add some bloom and kind of glow. Everything's lighting itself and other things. Maybe a little color shift. Some like greens. Maybe overlay is not the color thing for that. Maybe I need a color layer. Or glow. I do like glow. Nah, too intense. Let's try color layer. Just because I want to sneak some greens in there. I put that under the overlay there. So I can hit this with a little overlay too. A little green. A little bit of green. And green kind of dipping into blue a little bit right here. Okay. Pretty cool. Let's get some more overlay. Overlay. And then we'll call it a day. Overlay and call it a day. Just overlays that secret zone.
Party die!
Never let the party die.
He too has no heart.
Her sister used to drink puke. Does that sound boring to you?
Doesn't feel, doesn't live, doesn't beat.
You can see, just like overlays, just can pop that color. Nice, like variety, rainbowy, nebulous. Just adds that nice little bit of heat. Just a little bit of that rim. Just that little glow, just kind of this little sprinkle of light, just hitting this little spot. I don't know why, just like this one little spot. It'll be a cool piece. You know, I could even take this further, really blend it. I'd probably do another maybe hour of painting on top of this. Now I've got essentially my palette, and I would just kind of I would go through and kind of deepen some areas and emphasize some stuff. Like this. That went full into black and just a little bit darker. Right, just kind of go over the painting again. Just kind of sync all that stuff together. And you know, your ZBrush is not like the final. You know, there's still design exploration that can happen at this stage. So you're not beholden to anything. You can still like discover. Just kind of dip. Usually kind of go over the crevices again or fix stuff that you didn't have time to really sculpt as tight as you can. Just kind of lower that a little bit. And hit some other areas. Kind of bump the lighting a little bit. Still lots of fun to be had. And then I might even, just be kind of cool, just as an idea I'll explore later, but I could do some like bioluminescent dots or something, especially down here where it's kind of glowing.
Yes.
Yeah, we love bioluminescent dots. You know, the way that squid will pulse with color to communicate. It could be these kind of little electric pulses. What's also cool about it is you can put a layer mask on just, you can put a filter on a specific layer. So I'll go to like blur, then I'll just like blur it slightly with Gaussian. It lets you like paint with, lets you paint with a filter on it. Anyway, I think that'll take a little bit more time. Anywho, I'm gonna save this out, put a little bit more time into it, and get this posted hopefully by the end of the week. So from humble 3D sketches all the way to a pretty closely finished piece. So, woo! Get that squeak. Yeah, it's time to go. So thank you all for hanging out with me tonight. On part 2 of our Space Whales, we're going to be back doing, I think we're going to switch up genres again. Next week, we're going to do some horror, I guess. Let's go back to horror. What do you think? I don't know. We'll figure it out 5 more minutes before the stream, as we usually do. If you want to reach out and contact me, say hi, you can find me at MonsterMash042. That's on the old Twitter. I am at Jared Krichevsky on Instagram, and I'm on Threads and everything else. Matt Millard is at itchytasty_, and he's at Matt Millard 3D. He should be back with us next week. We'll find out. He'll be back with us. Anyway, thank you all for your lovely patronage. We will see you next time on Creature Corner. Good night.